The path of trust. Trust is the highest intelligence. Why do people lack trust? It's because they don't trust their own intelligence. They are afraid of being deceived. This fear fuels their doubt. Doubt is born of insecurity and unease with one's own capacity to understand and navigate life. It's a subtle confession. I don't trust myself enough to trust the world. Trust requires intelligence, courage, and a profound integrity. It demands a heart vast enough to step into the unknown. Without enough intelligence, people shield themselves with doubt. They protect themselves from life's unpredictability by hiding behind skepticism. But if you are truly intelligent, you can step into the unknown without fear. You know that even if the entire world you once understood collapses, even if everything familiar disappears, you will adapt. You will create a home in the unknown. Trust is the openness of intelligence, knowing that whatever comes, you can respond to it appropriately. Doubt is a kind of guardrail, a safety net for the timid mind. But true intelligence needs no such barriers. It thrives in openness. Living in the unknown is the hallmark of true intelligence. It is awareness without accumulation. Each moment arises and then vanishes, leaving no trace. Like a child, the intelligent person steps out of each experience unburdened, fresh, and innocent. Don't try to understand life, live it. Don't try to understand love, enter it. Only then will you know. And this knowing will not destroy the mystery, it will deepen it. Life is not a puzzle to be solved. To see it as a problem is to misunderstand it entirely. Life is a mystery to be lived, loved, and experienced. The mind that constantly seeks explanations is a fearful mind. It clings to explanations because they offer a false sense of control, a familiarity that calms its trembling. Such a mind wants maps, guides, and rules before it ventures into any new territory. But life does not come with a map. It cannot be mapped. By the time you draft a map, life has already shifted. Life is a dynamic, ever-changing process. Only change is eternal. Only change is constant. Everything else is in flux, rendering maps useless. The mature mind approaches life without questions. It steps into the unknown with courage and fearlessness. To live this way is to flow with the essence of life itself. The world is full of false religiosity, temples, churches, mosques, rituals. Yet how profoundly irreligious the world remains. This paradox exists because most so-called faith is borrowed. People are taught to believe but not to experience. They are conditioned to trust doctrines but not their own hearts. Never believe blindly. If you cannot trust yet, let yourself doubt, for doubt, too, is part of the journey. Eventually, doubt will exhaust itself, and in its wake, the seed of authentic trust will begin to grow. Doubt is a disease of the soul. It unsettles, divides, and perpetuates misery. But doubt cannot endure forever. Sooner or later, you will seek a way out of its shadow. Authentic trust is not cultivated. It is discovered. Cultivated trust becomes mere belief. To discover trust, you must venture inward to the roots of your being. Only then will you encounter the wellspring of genuine trust. Trust requires stepping into the unknown. It calls for immense courage, for it leads you away from tradition and the comfort of the crowd. It is a solitary journey, like crossing an uncharted ocean. You cannot know if another shore exists, but trust compels you to sail regardless. Here lies a timeless story. Once in a village, two beggars lived by the forest, one blind, the other without legs. They were rivals, constantly at odds, vying for the same scraps of charity. But one day the forest caught fire. The legless man said to the blind one, "Let's put our enmity aside. If I climb onto your shoulders, my eyes will guide us, and your legs will carry us. Together we can escape the flames." And so, They united, the blind man carrying the legless one, and they survived. This story is not about beggars or burning forests. It is about you. It is about the blind intellect and the sighted heart. The intellect has legs but no vision. The heart has vision but no legs. The heart feels, sees, and understands, but it cannot move. The intellect moves swiftly but is blind to meaning. Together, they form a complete intelligence, an intelligence that both sees and acts. When the intellect surrenders to the guidance of the heart, it becomes wisdom. The unification of heart and mind unlocks life's mysteries. It is in their harmony that the deepest truths are revealed. To trust is to walk uncharted paths, to leave behind the safety of maps and guides. Trust is the bridge that carries you into the unknown. With trust, the intellect and the heart align, creating a wisdom that is both fearless and free. The heart knows how to trust. The intellect knows how to search. Together, they are unstoppable. Intelligence is alive, it is spontaneous, it is open, delicate, and unburdened. It is the courage to move without conclusions. And why do I call it courageous? Because to operate from conclusions is to be protected by them. Conclusions offer you security, safety. You know them well, you know how to navigate through them, and you are efficient within their boundaries. To move without conclusions, however, is to move with innocence. There is no safety there. You may falter, you may lose your way. But those who are willing to embark on the grand exploration of truth must have the capacity to err and stumble. They must dare to take risks. They may wander astray, but it is through such wandering that one learns the way. By losing one's path many times, one begins to see clearly how not to lose it. By making mistakes, one comes to understand what a mistake truly is and how to avoid it. In knowing what error is, one moves closer to the truth. This is a deeply personal exploration. You cannot depend on the conclusions of others. You were born without a mind. Let this sink deeply into your heart, for it is the gateway to liberation. If you were born without a mind, then the mind is merely a social construct. It is not natural. It is cultivated. It has been placed upon you. Beneath it, you remain free, and you can break free of it at any moment you choose. One cannot escape what is natural, but one can always step away from the artificial whenever one decides to. Existence comes before thought. Thus, existence is not a state of the mind. It transcends it. To truly know the fundamental, one must exist, not think. Science is rooted in thought, philosophy in thought, even theology in thought. Religion, however, is not thought. Religion approaches existence without the interference of thought. It is intimate. It brings you closer to reality. It clears away the obstructions and unshackles you. You begin to flow with life itself. No longer do you feel separate, standing apart as an observer. You no longer think of yourself as a solitary spectator, detached and distant. Instead, you merge, blend, and become one with reality. There emerges a kind of knowing that is beyond what we call knowledge. It resembles love far more than it does intellect. It is so intimate that the word knowledge cannot capture it. Love is a more fitting description. In the evolution of human consciousness, the earliest forms of understanding were a blend of intuition and reason, an interplay of direct perception and structured thought. Over time, this gave rise to philosophy, a realm rooted firmly in thought. From philosophy, science eventually emerged, relying on thought coupled with experimentation. But religion, in its essence, is a state of being beyond thought altogether. Religion and science are two approaches to reality. Science takes an indirect route, while religion is direct. Science meanders. Religion dives straight to the core. Science circles around. Religion dissolves into the center. Thought can only dwell on the known. It can only chew on what has already been chewed. Thought can never be original. How could you think about the unknown? Whatever you manage to think of will still belong to the domain of the known. Thought can at best create new combinations. You may imagine a horse flying in the sky crafted from gold, but there is nothing new in this. You already know horses. You know flight. You know gold. Thought merely assembles these into a novel arrangement. Thought can imagine new combinations, but it cannot grasp the unknown. The unknown remains beyond its reach. Thus, thought moves in circles, revisiting the already known, endlessly repeating. It only chews what has already been chewed. Thought is never original. To encounter reality in its pure original state, without intermediaries, to meet reality as if you are the first being to exist, that is liberation. It is the freshness of this encounter that liberates,